An easy fast, everybody. It's just not the typical way of saying good morning to each other on the day that we're fasting, the day that we're mourning. Chorban Beit HaMikdash. You could see the angle where I'm giving this class. I'm actually sitting on the floor. And we're not supposed to be sitting on chairs till midday. So here I am. I wasn't going to cancel the shir, but I thought, we'll do it. We'll make it work. Sitting here on the floor and mourning together for Tisha B'Av. You could still give tzedakah, so please do that. And of course, today, our Tehillim means so much more. Today, I think we'll do chapter 121, specifically for our hostages, for Israel, for our Bet HaMikdash, for all our brethren in Israel who are keeping the land safe until we come back when Mashiach comes. And I hope it's today. I really just hope it is today. Sharon, please let me know as soon as you hear the shofar blowing. Hopefully we'll all hear at the same time. But anyway. Shilamalos esayin ayel harameyan yivo Ezri. Ezri me'im Adonai yoseh shemayim va'aretz. Al yitein lamot reglecha al yonum shomrecha. Hine la yonum v'lo yishan shomer Yisrael. Adonai shomrecha Adonai tzocha yad yaminecha. Yomam hashemesh re'akeka v'erech balayla. Adonai yishmarcha mikol ra. Yishmar es nafshecha. Adonai yishmar tzeis v'yecha mi'ata v'ad olam. Douglas Ben Patricia, David Basaliza, Refuah Shalema. Please put down any names. Good morning, Ava. Good morning, Lori. Good morning, Sarah. Good morning, Evelyn. Okay, good morning, Sharon. Arlene. Good morning, Dorit. Please, if there's anyone that we want to daven for, you have any names. Good morning, Sophie. I want to say this chapter in English because it's such a powerful, powerful chapter. A song of ascents, I lift my eyes to the mountains. From where will my help come from? My help will come from Hashem, maker of the heaven and earth. He will not let your foot falter. Your guardian does not slumber. Indeed, the guardian either neither slumbers nor sleeps. The Lord is your guardian. The Lord is your protective shade at your right hand. The sun will not harm you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will guard you from all evil. He will guard your soul. The Lord will guard your going and your coming from now and for all time. Refuah Shalema for Yosef, August, and Sarah. Yes, of course, Sarah. Suris Tovis. Good morning, Lynn. We have Moshe Eliezer Ben Devorah, Esther. Okay. Good morning, Clara. Good morning, Karen. Again, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say good morning. I know last night in Shul, none of us were saying good morning to each other. So for those of you who just joined, welcome to my floor. I'm sitting on my living room floor now. It's Tisha B'Av. We don't have any pleasures today. No sitting on warm, comfy couches or nice backyard chairs, drinking a nice coffee. Today we are mourning. We are mourning the destruction of our Beis HaMikdash. They say about Napoleon that he was walking incognito around his country. He used to do that often. He liked to know what were the citizens saying. And he hears a loud cry coming from the synagogue. And he sends one of his security and he says, go find out what's going on in there. And he comes out and he says, the Jews told me they're mourning the destruction of the temple. And Napoleon goes, what? I am the ruler of this kingdom. And no one has destroyed any temple for the Jews under my rulership. And they said, no. It's not what happened now. Under your rulership. It happened thousands of years ago. And Napoleon looks up to heaven. He says, a people that mourn their temple for over 2,000 years will merit to see it rebuilt. And that is precisely, my friends, all of you, wherever you're watching from. Today, millions of Jews are sitting on the floor. Millions of Jews are fasting. And millions of Jews are mourning. October 7th was our destruction, contemporary destruction of the temple. It has hit home with people who've never, ever really, we couldn't figure out the pain. And today we get it. Today it's personalized. We want the Beis Hamikdash. We want the wholesomeness of the Jewish people. We want God's divine presence in our land, amongst us, in each of our hearts, in each of our homes, and wherever we are living. Today we are sitting on the floor and crying for our Beis Hamikdash to rebuild, because we now more than ever understand what a broken temple means. When 1,200 of our precious children are murdered on one day, that's a destruction of the temple. When we still have over 100 hostages being terrorized by Hamas and by the Palestinian people, that's our destruction today. So if we could never feel what it meant, a destruction, there isn't a Jew today that is not yearning for the Beis Hamikdash. Find me one Jew today that doesn't wish for Mashiach. Listen, I'm not talking about secular religious right now. I am talking about Jews, religious Jews, secular Jews, and I'm getting rid of the labels right now. But there are all kinds of Jews that were very comfy in Galut. We were very comfy in America, in Canada, Switzerland. We had boats and we had yachts. We have first and second homes. We have cottages. We have boats. We have condos on Collins Avenue. We have cottages up in Bracebridge, Ontario. We have homes in Israel that we frequent. We have beautiful places. And how many of us, my friends, were mourning the Beis Hamikdash? How many of us really on a regular day cried out for Mashiach? I know one person, the Rebbe. I can't tell you how many Farbrengens I sat at. And the Rebbe would say the word Beis Hamikdash, and he would cry. And then thousands of us cried with him, but we didn't know why. We couldn't appreciate what the Rebbe understood. And I think now, my friends, I think I can safely say that every one of us right now, wherever we are in the world, every Jew is plotting for Mashiach. Every Jew, no matter what level of observance we're at, we want Geula. We want redemption. We need redemption. How can we ever go on social media and see Hirsch Poland's mom every day crying out for her son to be reunited? My friends, today is Tisha B'Av. The first temple was destroyed. The second temple was destroyed. The Holocaust started on the 9th of Av. And today we commemorate so many tragedies that happened on this day. It's no wonder that Ayatollah Khomeini, Yamach Shemam, already let us know a few days ago that on the 9th of Av, he is planning to wipe us out, because he knows that the Tisha B'Av is a terrible, misfortunate day for Jews. Their temples were destroyed. He knows Jewish heritage. He knows Jewish history. And he knows that we suffered a lot during this day. But what he doesn't know, my friends, is this. Tisha B'Av, although it's the saddest day of the year and we sit on the floor, which I'm doing right now, right? Tisha B'Av is also called a Moed. My friends, what is a Moed? Put down in the comments, what is a Moed? Tisha B'Av is called a Moed. Do you know what a Moed is? a moed is a holiday. Like Sukkot, like Pesach, like Shavuos. That's right, Dorit. Tisha B'Av is a moed. You know why, Dorit? Because Tisha B'Av will be a Yom Tov. It will become a holiday. And what Khomeinis and all of the evildoers in the Middle East don't know, this is going to be our Yom Tov one day. So we hope, my friends, that it's today. But if it's not, God forbid, I'm not going to say that. It is today. We still have time for Hashem to send us great news, the Geula. I want everyone to show me a heart or a love if you are thinking right now of the coming of Geula. Right now, show me, because I don't see you. I don't see you, Sharon, sitting in Israel, or Dorit sitting in Connecticut. I don't see you, but I need to see your love. Do you right now hope and cry and feel that this is the day that is a possibility for Mashiach to come? Okay, so I'm seeing some love. I want to talk today about what is Tisha B'Av. You know, my friends, what does the word bitachon mean? Anybody know? Bitachon. Bitachon means trust. And it's very easy to have trust in God when things are going good. When you have $1 million or $2 million in the bank, you have bitachon. When you have comfortable homes and good health, bitachon is good. Bitachon then is no big deal. And we're not impressed with someone that has it then because, well, things are going great. Of course you have bitachon. But the key is, do we have bitachon when we're facing adversity? That's when bitachon has to kick in. And Zechariah, in the prophet Zechariah, says that we now have to have bitachon in God just like when things were good. Because Hashem can turn things around, keherif ayin. In a split second, God can turn around our future trajectory. The Jews right now, we are in the lowest space ever of our generation. Am I right? Has there ever been in our generation, I'm not talking about the generation of the Holocaust, in our generation, 60-year-old, 50, 40, 30, have we ever been living in such a challenging, devastating time in history when so many Jews were being murdered in Israel, anti-Semitism all over the world? We are all feeling it. We are all feeling it. And now is when we have to be putting our trust in Hashem. Remember, today is a moed. You know, there's a prayer that we say. It's called the prayer of Tachanun. We say Tachanun. It's prayer of sadness, of remorse, when it's a regular day of the week and there isn't a moed. But when there's moed, we do not say Tachanun. Today we do not say Tachanun. You could think that's ridiculous. It's Tisha B'Av. It's the saddest day of the year. But as I said before, it is called moed because it is going to become a tremendous, tremendous holiday. I want to bring something very interesting to your attention. There are different ways a private person mourns to when a public mourns. And I'll give you an example. Has anybody, unfortunately, who's watching now, ever had to sit Shiva? Did you ever have to sit Shiva? You could say yes, put a thumbs up. I had to sit Shiva. I sat Shiva for my child, Zalmi. You know that. And there's a very interesting way we sit Shiva compared to when the community sits Shiva. And I'll give you an example. When you sit Shiva, it starts off very, very intense. The first day of Shiva, we sit on low chairs. we rip our garments. We don't even do mitzvahs right before. As soon as we hear that a loved one passed away, we don't do mitzvahs. Men do not put on tefillin. Nothing. Then when we start the Shiva, we actually sit on the ground. And for 7 days, we don't bathe. We don't put on makeup. We don't hear music. 7 days of very intense mourning. Then the 7 days gives way for the Shloshim, the 30 days. The 30 days of mourning, we do sit on regular chairs. We don't only have to wear canvas shoes. We're allowed to wear regular shoes. We still don't hear music, but the Shiva becomes less intense. And then there's the 12 months, and then we have the Yortzeit. How does it work with a public mourning? The mourning for the temple. It starts off with the 3 weeks when we don't have what? There's no music, there's no celebrations. Then it goes more intense with the 9 days where we have no meat, no wine. Then it's the week of the Tisha B'Av where we don't buy anything new, we don't do any surgeries or anything like that. And then Tisha B'Av, we don't eat, we don't drink, we don't have marital relations, we don't sit on chairs until the afternoon, we don't schmear, we don't put on makeup. Notice there's no makeup today. It's only what was left from yesterday. So it's much more intense. Why is that? And this is the message I want to share with us today. My friends, when we lose a child, when we lose a parent, the pain is so intense, we can't talk to anybody. So we're sitting in our house, we do not want to talk to anybody. In fact, the laws of Shiva is such that when you go visit someone who's sitting Shiva, you don't say anything. You don't say hello. You definitely don't talk about Narishkeiten. You just listen to the mourner talk. And if the mourner wants to sit quietly, you sit quietly. It's no chit-chat. Some people go to Shiva houses today, and it's totally off the mark. You walk in and you almost hear a cocktail party going on. There's glasses and drinks, and everyone's chatting about the baseball game, about business. Wow! How off is that? How off is that? When a person goes to a Shiva house, they're focusing on the mourner because the mourner is in pain. But the mourner doesn't have to be reminded that they're mourning. The mourner is in such agony that for 7 days, they don't want to put on makeup. They don't want to take a shower. They don't want to hear music. They just want to mourn. And then it gets less because we have to ease them into normal life. But my friends, let me ask you a question and be honest with me. How many of us and how many of you mourn the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash as if it's someone that you lost that's beloved to your family? How many of you today feel the pain, the loss of the Beit HaMikdash, as if we lost a family member? Put it in the comments. I'm going to give it a few seconds. Dorit, I'll be the first one to admit it. I can't feel the pain of the Beis HaMikdash burning 2,500 years ago as if I lost someone today in my family. I don't have that pain. We talk about it, but we don't mourn. We don't mourn it because we don't know. We don't know what we're missing. Yes, this year listening to Eicha was like no other. Clara, you are so right. When my husband was reading Eicha last night in Shul, and we were all sitting around on the floor, the tears that were coming out of everyone's eyes, it was a whole different Eicha this year. This year we get it. And maybe that's what this year needs, and maybe Mashiach is going to come this year, because this year we understand what we're missing. We're missing Geula so badly. So, how do we get to the Tisha B'Av? It starts off with lesser. It starts off with 3 weeks of no music, no celebration, then the 9 days, then the week of, and then Tisha B'Av. Because the way a personal person mourns to the way a public person mourns is a very, very different way. There are some people, during the whole year, they wake up in the middle of the night at Chatzot, and they read a special part of the Siddur. It's called Tikkun Chatzos. It's meant to be mourning, and there are people that go up to the Kotel every night. You go to the Kotel midnight, there are many people that are mourning the Beit HaMikdash. But how about us? How do we mourn it? And how do we feel that this is something that is personal? It's my private Shiva. It's not just I'm part of a public Shiva in the whole world and all the Jews are mourning. It's my personal Shiva. How do we do that? And we need to feel that it was destroyed in our days. There's a pasuk in Talmud that says, whoever didn't see the rebuilding of the Beit HaMikdash, it says if the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed in their lifetime. Which means maybe it wasn't destroyed, but the Talmud tells us, yeah, if it wasn't built by us, that means it was destroyed. And we have to feel it. We have to feel the grief, and we have to feel that something is missing. You know, the Holocaust survivors can very rarely cry about the Holocaust. My Zayda was a Holocaust survivor from Varsha. His whole family was murdered in Lodz. But he never spoke about it. He couldn't speak about the pain. It was so intense. We, on the other hand, walk into Yad Vashem and we look at it and we walk around and we watch and we see the 1.5 million children. Put a Holocaust survivor in Yad Vashem. They can't even walk through the front door. They can't walk through the front door because they personalize the Holocaust. Today on Tisha B'Av, we have to cry out that the Gullus is so long. When the Rebbe cried about Geula and that he wanted to see it in his life, and if you go online and you see hundreds of videos when the Rebbe talks about rebuilding Beit HaMikdash, and when he cried, all of us would cry with him. We all cried with him because we were connected to someone who felt it. Even if I didn't understand the devastation, remember, it was after the Yom Kippur War, or the 6-Day War. Maybe someone in Israel can correct me. Yeah, it was the 1967 war. And the soldiers made it to Har HaBayis, and they redeemed it from the Arabs. And they said those famous words, Har HaBayit b'yadenu. You've seen that clip, right? When all these soldiers, these were from the Hester Yeshiva, and they're screaming, Har HaBayit b'yadenu. We have back our Har HaBayit. We didn't have the Beis HaMikdash, but we had the Western Wall. It was back. That territory was ours. And there was one secular soldier, a soldier who wasn't so connected to his Yiddishkeit. And he's crying. And he's crying. One of his friends says to him, why are you crying? When you lived in Israel, you never went up. You never cared about the temple. What do you care now? He says, that's why I'm crying. Because I don't know why I should be crying. I don't know what it is that I'm missing. I think today, my friends, on Tisha B'Av, we have to sit down and watch videos that talk about not the destruction, but what we're going to have when Mashiach comes. Let's not talk about what was. Let's talk about what will be. We're missing the Beis HaMikdash. What's going to happen when the Beis HaMikdash is rebuilt? What kind of world is it going to be when Geula is here? What's the world going to look like when all the Jews come back and we celebrate Rosh Hashanah in the Beis HaMikdash? Can you imagine that? All the Jews come, And then the Kohen Gadol blows the shofar, and all the Jews hear it together. And don't worry about there not being space. We know that when the Jews lived during the days of the two temples, there was room for everyone to even bow down Aleinu. There was room for everyone. That was the miracle of the Beit HaMikdash. There was room for every Jew. So not only now are we almost 40 million Jews, but all the ancestors will come back. Where millions and millions are going to come back to the Beit HaMikdash. Don't worry about the space. But just imagine Geula, the sound of the shofar. And we're told that the third Beit HaMikdash is going to be built by Hashem. It's coming down. That we ourselves don't have to build it. Like King Solomon had to build it. We don't have to build it. It's going to come down complete. We cry about the Beit HaMikdash. And I know a lot of people are fasting for the first time in Israel today. And I hope that there are a lot of people today in Thornhill as well, are not having a regular day. I really hope today my community and the Jews in this city and Chutz La'aretz are also fasting. Because it's not a regular Tuesday, my friends. We have to mourn for our people that are in Galus. And if Hashem sees that we all are yearning, then maybe Hashem will say, wow, the majority of my kids care about this thing. Who could have thought? Who could have thought? They care. They care. They want that Beis HaMikdash built again. Well, guess what? I'm going to send it. Because till now I wasn't sure if they would give a damn. But they do. Look at them. They're all over the world. They're sitting and mourning. Even those that are sitting in beaches. They're gone. They're sitting and they're reading the Eicha. They're reading the Kinus. They are crying. Because they want Mashiach. And this is the day that Hashem designated for the birth of Mashiach and for Geula. So my friends, while we're crying, let's also be joyous that the birth pangs of Mashiach are being broken, being shattered. In fact, if you hear that crazy noise outside, they're building something in my backyard. And I usually like to do this in the backyard, but they're digging, and in my mind I'm thinking, let's build the Beis HaMikdash. Let's digging for the Beis HaMikdash, digging for the Geula. You know, I just heard such a fascinating story. When I was a little girl, we used to go to this bungalow colony called Hemlock Groves. I don't know if anybody here even knows what a bungalow colony is. If you do, give me a thumbs up. So a bungalow colony is a place where all the people in New York used to run in the summer. It was up the Catskills. And there used to be like little colonies. And they used to have little houses. And when I say little houses, I mean 2 bedrooms, a kitchen, and a bathroom. But you didn't spend your time indoors. You spent your time outdoors on the big lots of grass. There was a swimming pool. There was a little shul. There was a little grocery store. And starting from my age of being a baby, every single summer till I got married, my parents took a trailer, hooked it up to the back of the car. We threw in everything but the kitchen sink. We made our way up 2 hours to Catskills. And we would settle there for the summer, and then we could go just free. Because in Brooklyn, in the summer, it was bad news. You couldn't go free. It was, living in just bricks and mortar. So that's where my father used to take the kids. We would settle there for the summer, swimming, day camp, friends, till all hours of the night. It was a gated little colony. Beautiful. I just heard a fascinating story I want to share with you before we say goodbye. In Hemlock's Grove, where I was as a child in that bungalow colony. It's funny, I was about 3 years old and I still very much remember my parents, the bungalow was like up the steps. I just remember going up and down the steps as a little girl. In that bungalow colony, there was a rabbi. This was done about 15 years ago, not when I was there. 15 years ago, there was a rabbi there. His name was Rabbi Katz. And he wanted the children to understand what happened with the Beis HaMikdash being destroyed. So he made a contest with every family in the bungalow colony. So for a few weeks before Tisha B'Av, he said, everyone can build a model Beit HaMikdash. We're going to have a Beit HaMikdash contest. And on the day of Tisha B'Av, everyone's going to bring their model and we're going to have a contest, and we're going to choose the nicest one. So for the next few weeks, all the children and their families were engrossed in building the Beis Hamikdash. And they made it with gems, and with bricks, and with Lego, and with glitter, and painting. And some people did markers, and podge, and clay. Every kind of medium, every art tool was used, and everybody kept it secret in their house. This one family spent hundreds of dollars and built something that was literally magnificent. It was so magnificent, and the day of Tisha B'Av, when everybody brought their model, all eyes went on this one because it was so beautiful. I mean, every detail. The grand entrance, the Kodesh Kodashim, the menorah, the shulchan, the table where the showbreads were, the mezbeach, the altar. It was gold. They painted gold. They put the little details on top. They made the Urim, the beautiful Kodesh Kodashim. You actually felt like you were walking into the temple. And as everyone is oohing and eyeing on this beautiful model, he announced the winner. And sure enough, that family won the contest. And as everyone is standing around watching their recognition of this beautiful, beautiful temple, the rabbi took a lighter and put that whole temple on fire. The mother, the children started to scream, "Stop! Stop! Rabbi Katz, what are you doing? What are you doing?" And they tried to grab away, but the fire was spreading. And all the children of the bungalow colony were screaming and crying, "Stop! Stop! Don't burn it! Don't burn it! They worked so hard! They worked so hard! It was a piece of love. How could you destroy something that his family spent so much money on? And how could you do this? And this is terrible." It was horrible. The crying as they watched this piece go up in flames. The mother turned to Rabbi Katz and she said, "How dare you? How dare you take the Bet HaMikdash that we worked so hard on, that we spent weeks on, that everyone is oohing and eyeing, that my children invested their nights and their days, and all their little pennies went into building this Bet HaMikdash. You burnt it? Where's your heart? How could you?" And all the children were crying. Rabbi Katz said, "That was exactly my point. That's exactly the point, my friends. We don't understand what it means to destroy. We never cared about the destruction, but now you care. This is how Hashem feels about his temple. This is how we should feel. This God of home, this Beis HaMikdash, where Hashem's Shechina rests, where there was no miscarriages, no one lost babies during the days of the Beis HaMikdash, where there was no Ava, there was no sinas chinam, there was no senseless hate, where Jews loved each other. That's what we're mourning. You're crying about this little miniature? Cry about the real one. My friends, we know why the second Beis HaMikdash was destroyed. If you know why it was destroyed, put it down in the comments. We know the first temple was destroyed because the Jews didn't do the 3 cardinal mitzvos: avodah zarah, serving idolatry, murder, and immorality and infidelity. Those 3 things were rampant among the Jewish people, so Hashem had to destroy the temple. But then 70 years later, it was rebuilt. If it was rebuilt 70 years later, then we have the Beis HaMikdash again. Why was that one destroyed? So Eva and Dorit both said, Sinat Chinam. Naomi is right, Sinat Chinam. What does Sinat Chinam mean? Thank you very much. What does Sinat Chinam mean? Sinat Chinam means senseless hate. The antidote to Sinat Chinam is Avat Chinam, senseless love. I wanted to share with you something that the Alter Rebbe wrote in Tanya. And this is how I want to finish up this class today. Avas Chinam, the way to bring Geula, the way to bring Mashiach is avas chinam, which means unnecessary love. Unnecessary love means that you love someone, but not because they deserve anything, because you don't really care about them. You're just going to do it because. So the Alter Rebbe says, that's impossible for a Jew to live like that. Every Jew has to recognize that another Jew is their brother. We all have a soul that comes from Hashem, from Nefesh Elokis, Chelek Elokami Mal Mamish. So if we have a soul that's part of God's essence, and your soul and my soul come from the same God, then clearly we're all siblings. So if I love you, it's not senseless love, it's meaningful love. So we got to get rid of this whole thing, senseless love. We just got to start loving our brothers and sisters. You know, those hostages that are still stuck in Gaza, that are being tortured. I don't know them. And I'm sure none of you watching know them. But we go to sleep at night with tears in our eyes because they are in pain. And their parents sitting in Hostage Square are in pain. That's because it's not senseless love. It's purposeful love. That's my sister who is a hostage. It's my brother who's a hostage. Do I know their name? No. Well, now I do. But are they related to me? Of course they are. We're from the same father. Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel. When we get that into our heads, my friends, we are going to see Mashiach. Going to see Mashiach. After October 7th, there was so much love amongst the Jews. I hope it doesn't go back to October 6th. I hope. And it starts with you, and it starts with me. If you ever hear anyone talking bad about another Jew, if you ever hear anyone talking bad about another Jew or about another kind of Jew, they're religious, they're secular, tell them this. The Rebbe said, labels are for clothing, not for Jews. Find a place in our heart to love all our brethren. You love your kids, whether they're giving you nachas or not, you love them. They do something wrong, you defend them. He could be a kid who's not getting the best grades. He could be the kid who's not making his bed. He's the kid that's not being you nachas, but you love him because he's your kid. That's how we have to love another Jew. Let's spread love today on Tisha B'Av. Let's spread the love. Let's show out to Ayatollah Khomeini who we are. He stands no chance to spread hate, to spread divisiveness, to spread animosity. The Jews are one. Am Echad. And Mashiach will be here where all of us will be reunited. Have a meaningful fast. May it end now.